I anticipate a lot of creators going in-house at tech startups and getting a lot of equity. I think they're the best marketers. They're the best CMOs, especially creators that's been doing this for so long. And I think sometimes we forget how new the creator economy, really influencer marketing. That was like the first kind of phase, like influencers. Now it's like creator economy. So I think we're going to see a lot of those more seasoned, vetted, experienced people that have grown platforms get into the startup space and have a lot of leverage because they have these platforms for distribution.
Welcome to How I AI, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. I'm Brooke Raymer, your host and guide on this journey into the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How I AI is a community, a space where curious minds like you come together, share ideas, and I'll also bring you exclusive discounts and insider resources because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. And the sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities will unlock. Have you just started exploring AI and feel a bit overwhelmed? Don't worry, I've got you. Jump on a quick start audit call with me so you can walk away with a clear and personalized plan to move forward with more confidence and ease. Join my community of AI adopters like yourself. Plus, grab my free resources, including the AI Get Started guide, or try my How I AI Companion GPT. It pulls insights from my guest interviews along with global reports so you can stay ahead of the curve. Follow the link in the description below to get started. My guest today, Kameron Monet, or Cameron with a K, as she says on her YouTube, brings grounded leadership to the creator economy. She is a lawyer, a longtime creator, founder of The Legal Tea, and the force behind Social Docket, which is a new legal tech platform that's building an AI contract specialist for creators. She's negotiated hundreds of deals and helped creators protect their work long before AI entered the picture. What I loved about our conversation is how honest and human she is about her journey. She breaks down how she uses LLMs as both creative assistants and legal assistants, and how that sparked the vision for Social Docket. If you're a creator, founder, or digital entrepreneur who wants to protect your work and stay ahead of how AI is reshaping this industry, this episode is for you. All right, let's dive in. Well, hello, Cameron. It's so wonderful to have you today.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here to talk all things AI.
Yeah, so maybe you can share a little bit about yourself to listeners. How do you find yourself in the intersection of AI where you are now as a lawyer? We'd love to hear.
Yes, so I feel like hearing lawyer and AI sounds easy. Let me just throw in another term, creator economy. So I have been a digital creator for over a decade. I've been a lawyer for over 6 years. And I've been exclusively helping creators with their contracts and how to negotiate and just understanding how to turn this hobby that essentially was that into a career as a career creator in the creator economy. And last year, I realized AI is here and it's not going anywhere. So how can I utilize AI to further help my creators expand their knowledge in the legal profession, but also make it accessible and attainable for any creator to get the knowledge?
I think this is such a timely conversation. I am in an 8-week accelerator with Gary Vee and Stand for Creators. And I've been really catapulting myself into this creator, podcast producer space. And it really is the time to build our own brands. And you've been on YouTube for so long. I love your YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah. So take me back to when you first started using AI. When did it start to spark your interest?
Honestly, I feel like I was a little late to the AI train. It felt intimidating, to be honest. And so when I hear other people say that, I'm like, I empathize, I get it. So you have to just start small. So specifically ChatGPT, when that kind of revved up, I'd say probably 2023 is when I was like, okay, there's this thing called AI. I keep hearing about. What is it? What is it about? How do I start to use it? Because I'm forever looking to innovate, especially being in a place like creator economy. It's forever changing. It's so fast. It's always way outpacing the law. So I'm always trying to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. So I was just trying to see where AI was in the tools that I was already using and realizing AI's kind of always been around. It's just a little bit more advanced now. So it's kind of like I'm looking at Google differently. Like, wait a minute, like when I type in Google and it gives me these answers, like, is there an AI feature there, or different softwares that are already used? How is AI embedded in that, and how can it make my work faster, more efficiently, more effectively?
Do you feel like that spark came more so from the creator side? I would love to dig into what your personal technology stack is, especially since you run a couple businesses, the legal tea and
Yeah.
social docket. I'd love to hear what's your stack look like.
Yes, so I feel like whenever I take something off the stack, I'm adding something else. So for us, for the legal tea, it's my consulting firm. So that's where I still offer that one-on-one hand-holding type service when it comes to your contracts, negotiation, strategy, leveraging your platform to get various brand deals. It's more of like that one-on-one. We don't offer legal advice, it's more legal consulting. So then we're able to work with various creators of different backgrounds. The social docket aspect is the legal tech company. So that's more of like, here are the tools where you can do it for yourself. And then also let us connect you with attorneys that can handle more complex issues. So our tech stack, no certain order. Rella is what we use for our social media management. I think it's such a great platform. I also know one of the co-founders. She is amazing. She's a creator herself. So anything for me as a creator that's built by creators, I'm a little biased. I'm like, wait a minute. They get how I think. They get how I work. Let me check it out. So that's how we repurpose our content across various platforms. My personal brand is also for Social Docket. So it's just an all-in-one social media management tool that's amazing. They also have an AI feature now embedded, which is nice. We also use QuickBooks for our bookkeeping and accounting. My accountant also has access to that, so that just helps kind of keep the finances all together. We use various different editing tools. So when you're thinking of editing, it's like, okay, the CapCuts are great. I use CapCut, but I love Final Cut Pro. It gives me just various different features, especially being on YouTube. I'm able to get a little bit more techy and fancy with the designs. Yeah, we use a ton of tools, a ton of tools. I would be sitting here all day. And of course, we use ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity. I like to just test the different tools to see who gives me the best answer.
Tell me more about the all-in-one social media tool you're using because I know you're visible on a lot of video media platforms. So what can you share more about that?
Yeah, so what I really like about it is it allows other people to have visibility on the content. So, like my social media manager, my marketing lead, they can give me the drafted material, but I can see it how it would physically look on my Instagram or on Social Docket's Instagram. And I can give editing notes right there on the platform. It also, my favorite feature is so many times we're like, repurpose another platform, just post it. And you're like, I don't want to have to log into another platform and then come up with a different caption because the characters can be different on like Instagram and TikTok, for example. So Rella allows you to input those captions and it'll tell you like, oh, this caption's too long, like take this out. So it allows you to like one click with a button, it goes to various platforms and you know if the caption's gonna be fit within that character. So it's really, really helpful for that. And
Cool.
anything that can speed up my process, 10, 10, 10.
Yes, I've expanded into way more social channels and I'm a bit overwhelmed because it's just those
Rella.
little, even just like the aspect ratio is different on every one. And
Yes.
so what's in the screen on one media platform is not the screen on the other for text block and style editing. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You found a system that worked for you. I'm going to
Yes.
look into that tool after this episode because I'm always looking to improve and trying things out. My next question for you, I'm super curious because you feel like you might have been behind on AI, but the fact that you're streamlining your workflow and using it for client experience, you still are like pretty ahead of the game. And I'd love to hear like a little bit how AI might have restructured your workflow and
Mm.
have you noticed a shift in how fast you can serve clients? Digging into that a little bit more for me.
Yeah, I love this. Also, kind of inspired me with Social Docket is one, sometimes I'm just, my time is limited. Like, our time is limited. We have, everyone's like, you have 24 hours like Beyonce. Yes. However, time is limited. So, what I started to realize is why start from a blank sheet of paper when you can start with an outline? So, when it comes to contracts or when it comes to curating a specific terms with a clause, I noticed I'm like, okay, how can I create the best prompts so that I can get the best outcome from whatever AI tool that I'm using? So while I was doing that, it was like, why am I training another AI when I can just develop our own to be able to train it with the prompts? Because a lot of times the difference between someone individually just using a ChatGPT, or we're just using that term, but there's so many other platforms that have AI, is the ability to prompt and the knowledge to prompt. And that's really when your specialty, your expertise comes in. So how can all of us in our different professions, how can we take our knowledge and put it into this prompt format so that when people use our specific software that we're developing, that's going to allow our customers, our clients, our audience to get our brain, but still have the ability to do it themselves. So it feels like, oh, I'm learning myself, but really it's like, no, it's actually being pumped and pushed into all this knowledge. So I noticed just it was quicker. So if I had like a quick question about, okay, how can I make this clause a little bit more user friendly? Like, why are we using for over more? Like, let's dumb it down a little bit. So it's like the more I prompted, it was like, okay, there it is. That's the way to do it versus having just come up with something on my own. So it really does help with the systems.
I know systems are really where it gets into the nitty gritty of how AI can really support you. I just re listened to my episode with Aziza because I'm bringing everything into YouTube slowly but surely. It's great for me because it's like I'm listening to my own content again and like learning
Yeah.
things all over. And she talks about how important it is to outline the before, during, and after of every process of
Yes.
whatever it is, whatever campaign or system that you're trying to automate. So I'm in the process of doing that. And even for podcasting, you wouldn't believe the amount of things I have to do before, during, and after.
I believe it. I believe it's a lot. And I think it something that also kind of helps is one of my early hires and best hire was an operation manager. And at first I was like, well, maybe I should, that's kind of odd. Why do I need that? But her developing the SOPs was like, this is so useful because now where we're training in AI, it's like we have our systems and operations already kind of written down. So it really does help save a lot of time.
I agree. And to your point, I think even when you're starting, before you hire, how important it is to really understand every role in your business so that you can more effectively hire and understand what it is that every employee you're hiring does and can do for you.
1000%. I love hearing that. I love that. That is like my thing. I'm like, don't just jump the gun and just start hiring people. Let's figure out how to do at least a little bit yourself so then you know they're doing it right.
Yeah, because if you would have told me before I launched YouTube that you could hire someone full time just to be a channel manager, I would say, no way. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, whoa, I could hire someone full time just for YouTube.
It's a lot of work. YouTube is a lot of work. Okay. It's a lot.
Let's go back to your journey as a founder. I would love to hear how AI has maybe come into your journey of building and growing your brand as a creator. Has it been shaping your direction and have you been pivoting? I'd love to hear how you integrate it and use it as you are building your business.
One of the things I continuously use as far as like the creator side of what I do is using it to help me develop creative concepts. Like it's so many brand deals that you're juggling sometimes. Like right now, I'm juggling 5 brand deals, different industries, a few different platforms, and I want to make sure that I can give them this specialty, personalized like response every single time, while still keeping the foundation of who I am and what I do on my platforms. So training like an AI tool and like your whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, etc., that you're using to know like who you are as a creator, like things that you value, things that you don't post about, things that you are excited about, your specific bio. So then when I ask it a question like, oh, help me create a creative concept for XYZ brand, it makes the process seamless. Like I always, like I said before, like starting from a blank sheet of paper, we're not doing that anymore. Give me an outline so then I can edit it and shape shift it into what I desire. And also it gives me some great ideas. Like sometimes it's like they say, 2 heads are better than one. So I love using my AI as like an assistant, whether it's creative assistant or my legal assistant. It kind of just depends on what I'm working on.
Yeah, tell me more about how you use it as a legal assistant. I know there's kind of two sides of the coin here where, there's so much intuitive and inner nuance that goes into legal advice. So I'm curious how you personally see benefits with it.
Love this question. So I will start by saying I also hire interns because I do think so many people just only rely on AI, and I think there's so much value there, especially if you're not a place where you can hire or you don't want to get interns, etc. But having a human layer is just always going to advance it even further. So AI is pushing us fast. Add in a human touch, it's faster. So we do have law school interns as well. But what I like to use it for is basically just like that initial sweep of research. So it's like, let me know what any new cases, articles, regulations, guidelines that have come out recently about the intersection between creator economy, tech, and AI. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it gets it wrong, but it gives me a starting point and sometimes triggers other ideas or like research projects for my interns. Also, something that we're really valuing right now is compliance. We want to make sure that, yes, we're in AI, but I'm also still a lawyer. So it's like, okay, making sure that the users are comfortable using our platform, how can we make sure that we're protected legally, and it's clear as far as like our terms of use, our privacy policy. So using AI just gives us that like initial foundation layer where we can then pivot in the right direction to get as much knowledge as possible. So it just speeds up the process.
Deep research is one of my favorite ways to use LLMs, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's Perplexity or Grok or ChatGPT. I use it a lot with competitive analysis,
Mm.
getting real time feedback of what's in the market already. How can I make my products more distinct and unique? Yeah, I love that feature. I think it's like a little overlooked. Sometimes people just jump in and use the standard quickest model that's pre-selected for you, but just taking that
Mm-hmm.
extra step of choosing the model, whether that's labs and Perplexity or deep research and ChatGPT. So it's cool that you're using that as well.
Absolutely, because it's going to provide you with the articles and the links. It's like, great. Now I don't have to search the general internet. I can go here and do my own additional research. So it's still like complementary. It's not doing all of the work, but it's really nice to have it do that initial deep research.
Yeah, and it makes you look so good in client pitches and presentations and calls when you're like, oh, and let me cite this case study here.
Yes, it's so nice. Even with like creative concepts, it's like I can go the extra mile and like input information that I see about the brand's website or a recent collab they did with a creator and be able to pitch them, hey, I noticed that you did this with this creator and I have this slight pivot. Like, oh my God, this is so good. And I'm like, thank you to my assistant.
I don't know if we are the same age, but when I was in college, we had to like cite resources. And even in high school, there were still encyclopedias.
Yes, I'm 32. So,
Okay,
yes,
I'm a little older, but man, if I had this in college, it would have been great to use for outlining and writing and research.
agreed. Agreed. I just spoke at a law school earlier this morning, and we all were like, if we had this while in law school, please, your memo should be phenomenal to the T.
How I AI is brought to you in partnership with the Collective AI, a space designed to accelerate your learning and AI adoption. I joined the collective and it's completely catapulted my learning, expanded my network, and showed me what's possible with AI. Whether you're just starting out, seeking community, or want done for you solutions, the collective gives you the resources to grow your business with AI. Let's switch gears a bit. Have there been any challenges to your AI adoption? I think it's really important to highlight that AI isn't this magic light switch where everything's going to be perfectly integrated and you immediately see benefits right away. Can you
Mm-hmm.
kind of bring me through your journey of integrating AI and maybe highlight any lessons learned along the way?
Yeah, there's a few things that come up when you ask that. The first is just getting over the initial response to an industry that just doesn't like to change, and that's the legal profession. Like a lot of lawyers just quite literally don't want to deal with AI. They're intimidated. They don't want to learn something new. There's something in law school we always say, it's like, don't reinvent the wheel. Sometimes the wheel no longer is there. We are not automatic. So I think a lot of it is just adapting to a newer environment with a profession that just doesn't ever change. So that has been some of the pushback. And when there's lawyers that are like in these positions that people like admire or they've been doing it for a long time and they're at the top saying like don't use AI, it makes it hard for us that are trying to adapt it and innovate in the industry. So that could be an issue. But also in that same token, there's a smart reason to be a little hesitant. There's been numerous cases where lawyers unfortunately didn't do their additional due diligence or research and they presented a case to a judge and the judge was like, this literally doesn't exist. Did you use AI? And they're like, yes. And then now they're having license issues as far as like getting disbarred or getting penalized and things of that nature. So I do think when being in an industry like the legal profession, and there's so many other professions, that just are a little bit slower to adapt. When they do start to use it, there's this moment of like, you're doing it wrong. Then you're like, I'm not going to adapt it because I'm going to do it wrong. So that tends to be the issue because ChatGPT, even on any of the LLMs, really, they have like a little notice. If you read it, I'll be reading it, and it's like, hey, it might get it wrong, or consult a lawyer, consult a doctor. So learning how to have that conversation is so important. Where it's like, yes, use the elements, please use them, but cautious. But that's just like humans make mistakes as well. I always remind people like I may miss a word or I may forget something. Like we're humans and humans built AI, so it's not going to be perfect.
Such a good point there. And have you seen a shift at all with your specific community or clients, have you noticed people are less hesitant as they were maybe when you first initially started integrating AI?
I think it comes down to explaining it in a way that they're like, oh, wait, like that doesn't feel intimidating. So, something I've been telling lawyers that I talk with, or even law students, is like, when we go to law school, we have these things called outlines, and that helps us with exams. So, we aren't just starting on a blank sheet of paper when it comes to learning from our professors. Like, we're not coming in there with just a notebook and a pencil and just like writing the notes. We come in there with our outlines because the outlines were crafted by people that had this same professor in this same school in this same subject. So why go into classrooms with nothing when you have outlines? So why go into your case research, go into your legal research with nothing when there's AI? So I try to make it where it feels like it's this adaptable thing that we already kind of use. And even like legal platforms like LexisNexis or Westlaw, they've been using a form of AI. It's just now more on the forefront. It's more AI agent. So it's like, oh, you're really doing the work for me versus just only the research aspect. But we've been using it. It's just getting past the like AI era of it all where it feels like this big change and it's like, wait, we've been doing this. We can do this. Let's slow down and let's just figure out how to adapt it easily within our process.
I know you and I chatted a bit before getting on this call, and I make a companion GPT for this podcast. It's called the How AI Companion GPT, and it essentially just uses the transcript of our conversation to gear guests to your episode. If people want to hop in and be like, oh, I'm a content creator, what episode should I listen to? It's going to be like, oh my gosh, check out Cameron's episode, and this is why you should watch it. But because of that, I have to put a lot of like legal jargon in my IP agreements, and
Mm-hmm.
that can kind of like scare people. But it does take a next level conversation of being like,
Mm-hmm.
this is why, this is here, and this is what it means. And then people are a little bit more understanding. But I also
Yeah.
still get people that opt out of it, and that is, of course, their right as
Mm-hmm.
well. But yeah, people are getting a little bit better with being okay with AI. And a question that just came to my mind, because I know it's the algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been served a bunch of ads and things in my feed this week, and it's all about how the privacy and settings are changing everywhere. Something
Everywhere.
about the end of this year, everything's changing and updating, and all these creators are sharing how to go into your privacy and settings and what to toggle on and what to toggle off and how to opt out.
Yeah.
In the US, we have way less rights versus the UK with GDPR, I'm aware of. But do you have any common mistakes that creators are making, or any advice
Mm.
to share when it comes to privacy and settings? Because everybody's using our training data or reading our messages or reading our emails, even
Yeah.
if the Gmail is auto generating an email response to you, they have to scan all your attachments and your
Right.
email. And essentially, you're opting in and you're letting them get all of your data in
Right.
essence. So
Yeah.
I'm curious just to hear, since it's very top of mind to me, what your thoughts are on
Mm-hmm.
that and anything that you want to share.
Yeah. I think what's happening is there's almost this shift to realizing that creators are building the new workforce. That's our argument at Social Docket. Like the new workforce is built of digital entrepreneurs, content creators, influencers, and then of course we have founders, etc. But like it's this digital space that everyone's kind of like, how do we get a piece of this? How do we protect this? How do we control this? And I tell creators all the time, like you don't own these social media platforms. So you have to adapt and you have to like abide by some of the guidelines. That's just kind of what it is. But my thing is at least know what you're agreeing to. So if you aren't sure, turn everything off and then start to learn and start turning things on as you understand. Also, I think some people are just automatically adverse to the idea of someone, oh, they're scraping my information, but it's like, why are they using it? Because there could also be a benefit. The benefit of them being able to take everyone's, and I'm not pro or against, neutral, but the benefit of them being able to utilize our information and our data, not our super personal things that are relevant to like a social media platform, it could make the algorithm better. So it's like, for example, people love TikTok, for example. Yeah, because TikTok is scraping everything you're doing and it's gearing things specifically to what you desire to see. It's like you get trapped in this TikTok doom scroll because it knows what you like. It knows what you want to see. It's always speaking to you. And there is a benefit with that. The con is it's taking all your information. So it's almost like there needs to be this healthy give and a take. And I think it just comes down to understanding what does that mean. And I think that's why it's so intimidating. People just don't know what it is and why. But yeah, I think people are intimidated by things they don't understand, therefore they just opt out. And I'm not against just an opt out, but just take some time to, ask around, which is also part of why we're building Social Docket. We want to try to remove this blur layer when it comes to, we're starting with contracts, but really just in general, like this legal blur, this business blur, this tax blur, this financial blur, and try to open up the doors for people to understand. Because when you understand, you can protect and you can be more informed when you make decisions.
Such a valid point there. I agree. I can see arguments for both end of the
Mm-hmm.
spectrum of when it would be a benefit and when you would want to protect your rights a bit more.
Yeah.
Let's get into a fun round of questions. I always like to ask, if you were to wave a magic wand, which it's so funny
Mm-hmm.
because my last guest was 11 years old. And when I asked him this question, I was like, if you were to wave a magic wand and use AI to create something that doesn't exist, what would it be? And he was like, what do you mean? There's vibe coding. Magic wands are real. He was like very matter of the fact.
I love that.
Um, but yeah, have you gotten into creating any other platforms? This could be fun for personal use, but I'm curious to hear if you were to create something and maybe it's a passion project. A lot of times my guests will share something that's near and dear to their heart. But have you put any thought? Because we live in such an amazing time right now with vibe coding.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question. I'm trying not to say what I'm building now, but my initial thought would be something in like the wellness space because I think that's so important. I don't see how people can become successful without prioritizing wellness, and I think it would be like a community-based wellness space where you can reach people that are in similar situations or circumstances like you within your jurisdiction or jurisdiction. That's crazy, the lawyer in me, but within your community where it's like almost like Bumble for friends, but minus the dating aspect and minus the complex of it, but just like a simple of like, I've moved to a new neighborhood. How do I build community? That kind of thing, but prioritizing wellness.
Yeah, so making a micro community, and I think that there's so many trends in this area. A lot of people are creating their own brand and communities around it. And I loved your answer because you are already building what it is that you are passionate about. So
Yeah.
got you to think a little harder on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Or a lawyer, well, you can't do this yet. An actual lawyer, like an actual AI agent lawyer, where it's like you don't have to hire, it doesn't matter your jurisdiction. Somebody can just use the platform and they can actually be your lawyer for a super affordable price. That would be like my fake world answer.
That goes into my next question is where do you see the industry going in the next few years? We can start with the legal tech space. Where do you see it morphing?
Yeah, I see the initial layer of lawyers changing, not necessarily removing. I'm not even trying to replace lawyers at this stage. It just comes down to we're in law school for 3 years. We go through this just crazy experience becoming a lawyer. It's hard, it's mentally draining, it's so difficult. We get out, and then, like that first year, you're kind of like paper pushing, not really doing too much. If we remove that layer and we were able to take those 3 years of knowledge and that all that expertise and let you actually work on more complex situations, actually litigate, utilize your brain, utilize that education off the top, and then the smaller, lower level issues AI can cover, I think that's what's going to happen. Where we're getting rid of I just want to work at a big law firm. Law students don't all want that. Most of them they love social media. They want to work in entertainment. They want to work in media. They want to be creators. So I think we're shape shifting what a career lawyer looks like and adding tech to help supplement some of those like lower, more entry level legal profession jobs.
And what about on the social content creator side? What do you think's coming through in the next few years now with AI?
I anticipate a lot of creators going in house at tech startups and
Mm,
gaining a lot of equity. I think
mm.
they're the best marketers. They're the best CMOs, especially creators that's been doing this for so long. And I think sometimes we forget how new the creator economy really influencer marketing. Like that was like the first kind of like phase, like influencers, influencer. Now it's like creator, influencer, creator, and creator economy. So I think we're gonna see a lot of those more seasoned, vetted, experienced people that have grown platforms get into the startup space and have a lot of leverage because they have these platforms for distribution.
I've seen this trend. I think Ulta Beauty, all of their employees, they give them bonuses for creating
Mm-hmm.
accounts and sharing their products. So it's like all of their employees they treat as content creators.
Yep. And ambassadors.
Uh,
And I think it's genius.
yeah. I see that trend. A lot of times social media managers and companies would need to be behind the camera. You'd have to pay and hire and scout talent. But now it's really the social media manager is the talent and they're the ones on the camera and they're in all the they're the
Yeah.
personality that people start to associate the brand and follow along with. I've seen that shift and it's really cool.
Yeah. I also think we're going to see, and as much people don't come after me, I also think we're going to see a lot more AI generated campaigns. And I think there's some industries that it's fine. Like there's some things that it's fine as long as clearly there has to be a human touch. So I think that's why it's so important for everybody to just start to get embedded with the use of LLMs and AI. You just have to just get exposed because even if you feel like your job will be quote unquote replaced, which I just don't think all of them will, some yes, realistically. But if you're able to manage over the AI, that there's your job again in a better, more supervisor position. So you're more like supervising or advising like the AI department and the AI tools versus actually doing the work. I think that's what we're going to see. But like for brands like a skincare company, sure, maybe the product based can be AI, but I want to see a real person putting this product on their face. I don't want to see skincare on AI. So I do think there's still going to be some kind of guardrails around that, but I think we're going to see some stuff. And I think it's going to be fun, a creative outlet.
I agree. I don't want to see AI generated models when it comes to fashion because they don't have real bodies no matter how much
Exactly.
you're going to improve them. The way the fabric looks in real life isn't what it's going to come in the AI generated.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, but on the flip side of that, there is a market for everything. And I have seen, I'll have to link in the show notes. I think it's called like Lux Media or some media
Mm.
brand in London. And they have a whole AI sector and division.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so they have AI generated feeds and models and content, and they get a lot of pushback, but just like the gaming industry, I'm not into it.
Right.
I don't know if you're into it, but it's a booming, huge industry
Huge.
that a lot of people are into it. And you and I might not be able to understand it,
Right.
but it's there and people are going to
Hmm.
watch it. Not to quote my last interview again, but the 11-year
I love
old
that.
Lucio, he creates AI generated faceless videos on YouTube
Mm.
and makes a ton of money because people watch them
Yep.
and it's creative storytelling and that might be hard for people to understand and be like, oh no, I want real videos, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But somebody has to
there's a
create
market.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody has to create them. So people are like, I don't want to watch AI, but it's like, okay, then you go create this. It's not that simple. It takes experience, talent, expertise. Now, I do think there's still limits. Like some things, like I can't decide how I feel about about the music artist, the AI music artist that got signed. We might be losing the plot a little bit, but I do think at the end of the day, there was a time when we were against the internet. We not we, but like my mom, she was like, "Yeah, the internet came up, and we all were like scared. We didn't want to use it. What is this iPhone?" And then now it's like, how could we live without it? So I think we're in kind of like that next era where it's like AI is coming in. We might be anti now, but 10 years we're going to be team AI.
Yes, I have learned that with myself is that I tended to be a lagger when it comes to adopting, but this time around I had learned my lesson so many times. Yeah. In marketing, if I was an early adopter of Instagram versus being so mysterious and private.
I think about that with TikTok
I,
all the time. I'm like, if I was just TikTok during COVID, but
So what's coming next for you? I'd love to just kind of open the floor if you feel like you want to share. I know that you have an amazing beta program coming through. Anything that you want to share about projects that are coming to fruition, I'd love to give you the space.
thank you. Yeah, we're super excited. Something that I'm learning as a first time tech founder. I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years, but being in the startup tech space, I'm like, patience is key. Everything takes a little bit longer, especially because I'm a non technical founder. But my engineer is great, my team's great, so that helps. So we're really excited for 2026 because we mentioned in real life events, and that is something that we're going to be doing a ton of. One, to give this legal knowledge for free, but also just to get the word out there about the importance of protecting yourself and advocating for yourself and how to do it right, but also in like a fun way. So this week is our first soft launch event, and we're doing it at a nail salon. And people are like, "Why are you doing a legal education thing at a nail salon?" Because we're not your average lawyers. Like we're working in the creative space. Everyone will get their manis, but then we'll have like a legal bingo. So we're really excited to find this unique space in the education, legal tech, creator economy, bringing fun activations together and bringing every different type of creator together to help each other. I think that's probably what I'm most excited about. And then we have like our launch. So there's a lot of fun things happening. And yeah, we're really at the point where now it's time to get it out there, get feedback, and then put our foot on the gas in 2026.
Exciting. I also feel like 2026 is going to be foot on the gas, a really big year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What's one key takeaway that you want listeners to walk away with?
My life motto is what's for you is for you. Especially being in so many different industries where comparison, it feels like it's everywhere, especially being a creator, being a lawyer, being in the tech. It's like there's constant volume of feedback or of information of another creator or just hit 1 million followers, or another tech founder just raised 200 billion. It's like, oh gosh, everybody's raising everybody. It's great. So I always come back to my neutral, which is what's for me is for me. So when I get an opportunity, even if I'm nervous, even if I feel like I'm not ready, I wouldn't have gotten it if I wasn't. Or if I don't get an opportunity, I'm like, oh great, good, because if I would have gotten it, it would have been for me. But since I didn't, it's not for me. So really just focusing on your own lane, playing your own game, and dealing with the cards that you're dealt with, but play them good.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love this conversation. I got to learn so much more about you, and I'm excited to get more involved with your programs. And so timely that we found each other is like I'm on my creator journey and, of course, need legal advice as I expand along the way. How can listeners reach out to you? What's the best way to connect and maybe attend some of your New York events if you'd like to share more on how to reach you?
Yes, please follow us on social Docket. Think social media and lawyer Docket, but social Docket together. We're on Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. We're on TikTok, but we haven't started posting yet. But there's a reason. Stay tuned. So social Docket is going to be the number one place to go to for updates on what we're doing, our events. We do giveaways. So it's holiday season, so stay tuned. And then personally, if you want to follow my founder journey, a little bit behind the scenes, meeting my team, things like that, follow me, Kameron Monet. That's Cameron with a K, Monet like the painter. And I'm literally on every platform: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I'm probably forgetting one. So I'm more than happy to chat. I'm always down to just meet with people. I think right now we're in an era of like in real life connecting. And I've had so many people connect me with others. So I'm always honored to be a connector.
I'll be sure to link all those details in the show notes. Cameron, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I wish you all the success in 2026.
Thank you. You too.
Wow. I hope today's episode opened your mind to what's possible with AI. Do you have a cool use case on how you're using AI and want to share it? DM me. I'd love to hear more and feature you on my next podcast. Until next time, here's to working smarter, not harder. See you on the next episode of How I AI. This episode was made possible in partnership with the Collective AI, a community designed to help entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals seamlessly integrate AI into their workflows. One of the biggest game changers in my own AI journey was joining this space. It's where I learned, connected, and truly enhanced my understanding of what's possible with AI. And the best part, they offer multiple membership levels to meet you where you are. Whether you want to DIY your AI learning or work with a personalized AI consultant for your business, the Collective has you covered. Learn more and sign up using my exclusive link in the show notes.